Hello everyone, I hope you are well. It's me. So thanks for coming. We're going to kick off by looking at system architecture today. It's the first topic in the whole course. Please say hello in the comments and do introduce yourselves. And I shall try and put some comments up on the screen. So thanks a lot for being here. I know it's 6:30. I know you've had a whole day at school, so well done for making it. All right, so the plan today is to have a look at the first topic and see if we can make some sense of system architecture. Can you hear me now? I'm hoping I've come back. Can you hear me now? Let me know in the comments. Sound is gone. Sound is back. Let's see. Let me know in the comments. Has the sound come back? You can hear clicky noises. I can hear clicky noises too. He's back and he's back. Hooray! Yeah, do you know what? That was, if you press the mute sound button, your sound is muted. Yay, okay, Pablo. Oh, there's so many of you. Let me try and say hello to all of you. I've got the HH2. Looking very good. Thank you. You know, I've made an effort. We've got Sam Joey. Hi, how you doing? Sanuka, hello again. We've got Pablo. Hi, Pablo. How are you? Good, you can hear me. Hi, Taylor. Thanks for being here. Josh, how are you? Yes, Mohammed can hear me. Turn off the slow chat. I don't think I've got slow chat on, actually. Hi, Abisha. How are you? Thanks for coming. Viral Kyle. I almost said Viral Kyle. What shampoo? Head and Shoulders. I swear by it. It's the only way to go. Okay, Mohammed, I have to figure out how to do that, okay? Because it's a lot to balance, but I will figure it out probably for next time. I have slow chat on. It's still coming through fairly quickly, though, to be fair. But I will figure it out for next time how to switch it off. Right, in front of you, this is the specification. So this is from the exam board. This is what you're supposed to do. The purpose of the CPU, that's pretty straightforward. That's the fetch, decode, execute cycle. That's more or less it. Yeah, I'll get it sorted out next time for that, Mohammed. We're going to look at the common components of the CPU and then look at what I think is the hardest part, is the MAR, all the different registers, that sort of third part there. That's the bit that really is quite tricky, all right? So that's what we're going to focus on today of those three. And I'm not going to go over half an hour because I know you've all had a long day at school. And I'm hoping that I can get this done and then get some questions, get you to answer some quiz questions. So this is also from the spec. You need to know what actions occur at each stage of the FDE, the fetch, decode, execute cycle, and then what each component does. We'll look at that in a second. And then the registers. The registers are difficult because it's hard to remember. They've all got 3 letters and it's quite hard to remember what they actually do. And then we need to dig a bit deeper into this notion of address versus data, because with the von Neumann architecture, which is named after a bloke called John von Neumann, who was around about the Second World War. He was a mathematician, a physicist. He was involved in the atomic bomb, actually. He was everywhere, a polymath, as they say. And he created this system which separated data from the addresses. When we say addresses, we mean location, where stuff is. If you think about what a CPU needs to know, it needs to know what to do, that's the instruction. It needs to know what to do it with, that's the data. But it also needs the address, as in where it's stored in memory. So the address is ZH, hello to you. Welcome. That's all the focus on is try and get through as much of that as we can today. After I'm done today, I'll put this PDF on Satchel 1 for you. but we'll dig in and do the 5-minute teach. So everything I show you today, I'll put on Satchel 1 in the next hour or so you can build up a bank of stuff that's useful for you. Some of it you'll find easier to revise from, some of it you won't. But I'm going to try to stick to telling you exactly what you need to do so you don't waste time. Do you remember that first thing was purpose of the CPU? This is it. At some stage, and bear in mind when they do the exam, they always do this. Luca has said he's grade 9, so he doesn't need to be here. We'll soon see about that. Doesn't need to be here. Yeah, I'll give him a 4 for the mock. It's the only solution, just to see his face. That could work quite well, couldn't it? Purpose of the CPU, it's to perform the fetch, decode, execute cycle. So the CPU fetches the data that it needs and the instructions, it decodes it to work out what it has to do, and then it does whatever it has to do, calculations or moving an item from here to there. So fetch, decode, execute. Those 3 boxes on the right-hand side there, the fetch, decode, execute bit, that's probably going to get you 2 or 3 marks at the very start of the exam. So this fetch, decode, execute cycle. So make sure you're happy that you can reproduce that. Right, there's a lot of information here. I'm going to pick out bits of this to go through, but this is the document that I'll send through to you on Satchel 1. And it's a kind of, well, it's not a kind of, it's a knowledge organizer. Top right, you've got the key terms up there. Let me try and show you how it works. So top right, you've got the key terms, and that's the sort of words you're going to need to use in the exam in order to impress. And then you've got, let's have a look. So we've got the key terms up here. Well, sorry, we've got the key terms up here. Looking at the wrong screen. I even have pink rectangles. That's how organised I am. Then we've got something I'll talk about in a second, which is different types of memory, different speeds of memory, and we'll look at cache, we'll look at RAM, virtual memory, and also the registers, which are another type of memory. And we go from the register, which is just here, which is the yeah, I know I was looking at the wrong screen. It was. You are correct. It was a good flex. It was actually true as well. I've kind of confused myself almost by. Let's have a look. I was looking at the wrong screen. How are you doing, Blackheart? Who's that? I like the skull. Excellent. Right. So where were we? Let's go back over to here. Right, so these different types of memory, and in terms of, don't talk about size, talk about capacity. So when it comes to memory, talk about capacity. Don't say it's big, you'll get no marks for that. Talk about the capacity of the memory. And then the read-write speed, that's the other thing. So don't say it's fast and it's big, and you understand it, but talk about the capacity and talk about its capacity and its speed, its read-write speed. We will then go and I'm not going to comment on that one. We'll go down here and talk about the CPU anatomy. So you will need to know about these different bits of it, and we'll get into that in a second. And then this bit I've already covered. Well, I'm going to get into that in a second. All right. So that's where we are. Let me push on, because I'm aware I've had 8 minutes, so I need to get on with this. Come on. Come on, computer. Here we are. Right, here's a wordy bit for you. CPU components and their function. So you've got the control unit, which is like the boss. It's like the manager. It's the Jurgen Klopp. It's the Eric Ten Hag, or the Antonio Conte, if you want to lose constantly. It's the boss. It makes the decisions, and it controls the signals. So the CPU is really dealing with electronic pulses. It's like a pulsing heart that's sending, well, 3.5 billion for a 3.5 gigahertz computer, 3.5 billion of these sort of signals flashing on and off, ones and zeros, through the system. And it coordinates the running of the processor, and that's how data moves between components, and it also involves in decoding instruction. The ALU, the arithmetic logic unit, is a super-powered calculator. It is fast. It's the number cruncher. It also does the logic, greater than, less than, the and, the or, all that sort of stuff. So the CPU is a bit of a scientific calculator, except really, really quick. Then you've got the registers. which is the CPU's own memory. They are very small in capacity, but they are very, very fast in terms of read-write speed. It's also important to remember that if you've got to look for things in 2 drawers, it's much faster to find them than looking through 20 drawers, even if the drawers are the same size. I don't know why I started talking about drawers, but if you've got fewer slots in which to store things, you're going to find it more quickly. So simply by making a memory block smaller, with a smaller capacity, with fewer slots to store data in, you're also making it quicker anyway. Does that make sense? And then we've got cache memory, high-speed random access memory. So those are the other memories we're going to look at. And cache holds frequently used instructions. Another little nugget there, which will get you some marks at some point in the exam. Right, where are we? I've had 10 minutes. This particular diagram is the one that you really need to get your head around. And I would have said that everything on here, you need to find a way of committing to memory. You've got the different components, right? So let's start off with, let me go back to my rectangle tool and go for the control unit here. We talked about that. It's the boss. It's the one that manages everything else. We've got the ALU, that's the calculator. And then we've got, obviously, this is where data comes in, and this is where data goes to output devices up here. These definitions that I've put around the side are the ones that you need to learn, all right? So I'll come and look at these in a bit more detail. So what we've got now, let's go back and look at these. We've got this, the program counter. It's a register. It's a super fast, a super speedy block of memory. Very small capacity, very fast read-write speeds. The problem is the CPU is so quick that keeping up with it is really hard. Having memory that keeps up with the speed at which the CPU can do calculations is a real nightmare. I mean, the latest iPhone, 1 trillion calculations per second. 1 trillion. I mean, that's quite a few. So you need to have memory that can keep up with that sort of insane speed. So you've got the program counter there. On the right of it, we've got the memory address register. Now, you genii out there, guess what the memory address register holds? What do you reckon? Don't say memory, that'd be a bad answer, and don't say register. It holds addresses. It holds where stuff is. It's like a postcode. It would hold where in memory something is stored. So that's what goes into the MAR. And the memory data register is... Addresses was correct. I should probably slow down because I forget there's about a 9-second delay between me saying this and you actually getting it. So in fact, addresses here was the correct answer, ZH, and it was the correct answer, and it absolutely was. So that's it. This idea of data and addresses, it's quite hard to get your head around, but when you think about it logically, the CPU needs to know where stuff is before it can do anything with it. So that's why you've got this sort of differentiation between addresses and data. All right, we've got the ALU, we've talked about that and what it does. So what's on this page, guys? That's something that you need to... is that a fact? That's quite interesting. Yeah, I've not thought of streaming on Twitch. I've got a YouTube account, so it's easier to do it. This is on the lowest latency one. I'm guessing it's about 9 seconds. Yeah, I've not had a go at streaming on Twitch. I've not really used Twitch. It's more for gaming, isn't it? ALU, flow of data. All right, so yeah, stuff on this page, guys. That's what you need to know. So finding a way of doing it, drawing it out. You might benefit from actually drawing that out. Fortnite streams, blimey, that takes us back into history, doesn't it? Let's have a look. What's next on the agenda? Right, so I thought it's worth me. I'm going to focus on this bit. Let's go over here. This bit on, where am I? Here. This bit over here. So I'm guessing at level kind of 6 to 7, this is the sort of information that you're going to need on, well, actually, no, I would say up to a grade 8, grade 9. This is the information you're going to need on each stage of the fetch, decode, execute cycle. On the top left there, that's the sort of simpler explanation. But if you can try to get your head around what happens in each part of it, and I'll talk through it now, this won't all go in. By the way, I've made a video on YouTube which goes through this exact thing. You would benefit from watching that. And although there's some information there you don't need about how the data goes from one to another, it could be quite useful. So first of all, in the fetch cycle, it copies what's in the memory address register from the program counter, which is down here, into the MAR, which is here. So can you see this arrow here? That's the first stage of the fetch cycle. Is that, ooh, I can use an arrow. This is exciting. Hang on. This, check me out, goes from here to here, right? So that's the first thing that happens. And then it copies. So bear in mind, what gets put into, let's go to here, what gets put into the memory address register is, as we've established, an address. So all that's there is an address, but then the contents of that address then get moved. He's going for an arrow into here. So what is in this location then gets moved into this one here. Boom. So that's pretty much it. And then this program counter here is then, it moves forward to point at the next instruction, the next thing it's got to do. So this is like a machine that keeps, well, it is a machine, it keeps turning. It's like a processing plant that's literally just dealing with instruction, instruction, instruction. It's relentless in what it does. The decode part is actually really quite easy to sort of think about, because that's where you've got the instruction there. The program counter then needs to work out what to do with it. It's decoded by the CU, by the control unit, which is this guy over here. And that's where it does its job. It works out what it needs to do. And it could prepare for the next step. All right, whatever that step would be. So it may load values into the memory address register. It could do anything, or it may load values into the MDR. So that's the decode instruction, where it figures out what it needs to do and then gets things ready for the next step, which is, surprise, surprise, the execute part, which is here. And that's where the instruction is performed. So that's where most likely the ALU over here is going to do its number crunching. It's going to do some logic, it's going to do some greater than, less than, it's going to do some addition, subtraction, whatever, okay? Or it might be that it's going to store something somewhere, or it's going to read something from somewhere, from a memory location. So this idea of memory location, I'm hoping that's making sense, that you've got this idea of the data itself and then where it's stored. And so that's how things are sort of partitioned within this environment, right? Within the von Neumann architecture. There are other architectures like the Harvard architecture. We don't need to worry about it, but they deal with data and instructions in a slightly different way, but we don't need to know that. So let's not focus on that. So I'm hoping that kind of helps a bit. My advice to you is to have a look at this particular screen, and just to work your way around the diagram so you can see how things move, and it kind of helps. Otherwise, you're just learning it as boring facts, and it kind of makes no sense, because you're saying a lot of things several times in these steps. But if you can track its progress around the diagram, it helps. I'm going to say something really unhelpful, which is the diagram on here is nothing. It's nothing like this in real life. We just do this to show you the different parts of it. If you zoomed into a CPU, it would look nothing like this at all. But don't worry too much about that. For your purposes, that's what you need to know at this stage. Okay, here's the bad news. If you want to get a grade 9 in this particular part of the paper, this is what you need to know. And they always put a question on this when they cover CPU, and they will cover CPU. And this is to determine whether you understand what is held in the different registers, right? So we know that these registers, they are small capacity, they're super fast read-write times, and they sit really close to the CPU. So the closer they sit to the CPU, the less far the data and the instructions have to travel to be fed backwards and forwards. So you've got these are sat right, they're built right into the CPU, so they're really, really close, because obviously it takes time for data to travel around a system. So you've got the MAR, where data's read and written or accessed or fetched, and where data instructions can be processed. I'm not going to read through this list, but the bad news is if you want to get a grade 9, you need to understand what each of these do. And you might, so it might ask you, it might, basically this page, it will do several tricks. And don't forget that horrible trick OCR do is they will talk about one register, they'll talk about the PC and then say, discuss 2, and it'll embolden 2, it'll put it in bold, and then it'll say additional or other registers, and if you mention the one that's in the question, you'll get no marks for it. Okay, so this is what you need to know. This is the purpose of the registers. All right, so they will find a way of asking you that. All right, let's jump into cache memory. Cache memory. This particular, the first one here, it stores regularly used data and instructions. 1 mark. So what happens is the CPU will first of all check cache, and then it'll check RAM, because cache is faster than RAM, and guess what? RAM is faster than your hard drive, than solid state storage. Cache has got low capacity, and there are usually 3 or 4 different sort of different cache blocks. Level 1 is closer to the CPU, it's faster. Level 2 is a bit larger, capacity a bit slower, and level 3 a bit further away, a bit larger, a bit slower. So that's the way it works. Also, have a look at this diagram over on the right hand side, and you can see that I've arranged that. It's very pretty, isn't it? I've arranged this so you've got memory size, memory capacity. Size isn't everything. Memory capacity against the speed, the read-write speeds. Okay, that's it. So that's what you need to focus on and make sure. And the cache memory is actually part of a different topic, but it makes sense to tie it in now because you need to know it. And that is always in each exam that you do. We have reached quiz time, which is simply outstanding. So let's see how you get on. Right, just like the film Rocky, except not quite as good. Here's the quiz. The ALU, is it A, B, C or D? Who is the quickest to the comments on this? The ALU, what does it do? What do we think? Ziggy has come in with D. What, can I get over here quickly enough? Oh, these are coming in so fast. Hang on, we've got Ziggy who's got D. So Ziggy has said D. We've got Josh who said quiz time. Hi, Josh. We've got someone correcting someone's grammar. We've got Mo who's come with Z, which is probably related to something else. Ziggy's come in with D again. We've got E who's saying A. We've got Owana. Hi, Owana. How you doing? Who said Z? Oh no, she's sleeping. We've got Pablo who said A. We've got Hedro. Nice to see you. Who said A. We've got Sanuka who said A. We've got Blackheart who said A. Zora, how are you, Zora? Thanks for coming. Nice to see you. Who said A. We've got Crack who said A. We've got Josh who said A. We've got Manu who said A. There's a lot of A's going on. What does the Bisha reckon? She says A. Mohammed pressed Z instead of A by accident. That's all right. Awana still says A. Sam Joey, nice to see you. How you doing? Shall we see what the answer is? Well, we've got K who's got A as well. Hi, K. How you doing? The answer is dun dun da K. So I think most of you got that absolutely spot on. Let's go and get through as many of these as we can. See how good you are. Come on, computer. Behave. Let's try that again. Here we go. What about this one? Inside the CPU, you will find. What do we think? This should be a relatively simple one. I can even play you some music as we wait for this one. That's actually unbearable. Thank you. That was awful. What have we got? Oh, the answers are coming in. Let's have a look. We've got Zora. Oh, are those the old ones? No, they're not. Hang on. We've got Now, I think this was the other one, Sam Joey. So that was K said A. We've got, well, I don't know what to make of that. Ratty Patty, thanks for coming. We've got Zora. I'm glad I like the sound effects. They get annoying after a while. We've got L Mac. We've got Silly Computer Man. That could be me. We've got a C from Crack. Okay, what else have we got? We've got Zora with A. We've got Mohammed with A. We've got Sanuka with A. We've got Pablo with A. We've got Manul with the A's. A lot of A's here. We've got Sam Joey with A. There's a lot of A's coming out here. Oh my word, there's millions of you. Right, let's have a look. Let's see what the answer is. The tension is building. Shall we see what the answer is? It is A. Outstanding. Let's go on to the next one. What about this one? Fill in the blank. The MAR stores the of data which is either being sent or fetched from RAM. What do we think, ladies and gentlemen? The MAR stores the of data which is either being sent to or fetched from RAM. What do we think? What have we got down here? Oh, we've got, hang on, we've got some answers in here. We've got, we've got Hedro that says address. We've got M Blackheart, hello again, who says address. We've got E, who says address. We've got Ratty Patty, who says yes, dear, which is probably not the answer. We've got Pablo, who says address. We've got Manur, who says address. We've got Zora, who says address. We've got Oana, who's talking to someone else. We've got Sam Joey, who says address. Beach says address. There's a lot of addressing going on. There's a lot of address. Mohammed address. Sir, please stop. Okay, I'll stop. Fine. Okay, the answer is, you're quite correct. It is address. What about this one? The first stage of the fetch... I'll try that again in English. The first stage of the fetch, decode, execute cycle is... This one's slightly more complicated. What do we think? Slightly more complex, this one. Mohammed says B. Mohammed says B. Blackheart says C. He says C. He says C. Sam Joey says C. Abisha says C. Okay, shall we see how you're doing? That's looking... Come on, computer. It is C! That was outstanding. Right, let's go on to the next one. What have we got? Come on, computer. Don't let me down now. What have we got? Here we go. Select the registers of the CPU. They like this one. Select the register of the CPU. They do this fairly early on to see if you know what the registers are. So which of these are registers of the CPU? And don't forget the sneaky thing they do of mentioning one and then saying, mention 3 other things. They like that. Right, Mohammed said D and E. Zora has said A, D and E. E says E and D. E and D, okay. Yep. Blackheart, D and E. Hedro, A and E. Oana, D and E. Pablo, D and E. Josh, D and E. Okay, let's see what it is. And Abisha, D and E, and Crack, D and E. Right, let's spend all day doing that. Oh, it was B, D and E. So the ACC, the accumulator, the MDR, and the because the accumulator stores the results of the calculations. Right. Select the components of the CPU. What do we think? CU, ALU, ROM, AC, and PC. Yeah, AC is the accumulator. I don't think I mentioned the accumulator. That stores the intermediate results of calculations. So it will hold that until it's then needed to be used again, if it needs to be used again. Right, what do we think about this one? Hedro has said A and B. Blackheart's got A, B, D. Zora, A, B, D, E. K has got A, B. E is B, D, A. All right, let's push on because we're almost running out of time. I want to try and get through a few more of these. Oh, I can never come. Manure, A, B, D. A, B, C, D. A meteorite's hit your house. I'm very sorry. I'm very sorry about that. That sounds quite tragic. So A and B is the answer. Let's push on. Which of these statements is true about von Neumann? This one is quite difficult. I'm sorry for your loss, Oana. It was nice knowing you. we've got only data is stored in primary memory. Data and instructions are both stored in primary memory. Only instructions are stored in primary memory. What do we think? What do we think is the answer for this one? I don't know. Okay, I think. Oh crumbs! I can't keep up with the answers. ABD ROM. I will give you the answer. It is data and instructions. So it's that idea of data and instructions. What about this one? What is the function of the CPU? What's the function of the CPU? What do we think? Ziggy has said, oh, that must be an old question because that's D. These are coming up a bit later. So what do we think now? We've got Manua saying B. We've got B for Oana. We've got B for Upsilon. Thanks for coming, Upsilon. We've got Sam Jelly with B. We've got Abisha with B. We've got Mohammed with B. Right, let's see whether you be correct. You see what I did there? You are all awesome. I think you should have a very special reward for that. Okay, this is a really, really fun round of Guess the Question. Don't say I don't treat you. So the amazing quiz game of Guess the Question, which is, there's the answer, which you actually saw earlier. What is the question? Do you see what I did here? I've inverted it. It's very clever, isn't it? What is the question? Sorry, I didn't mean to make you jump. That would be a terrible thing to do. What do we think the question is from this? Oh, I didn't play my quiz time jingle that I made. Do you want to hear it? Here we go. Quiz time. Quiz time. Quiz time. Quiz time. See? I am wasted in this job. It's 1 minute past bedtime. I am sorry. Yeah, I am going to stop. Okay, this is. I've gone 1 minute over, so I am not going to persist. I got to slide 32 of 38 slides. So what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to whiz through until the end. Whoa, that went a bit far. Ooh, crumbs! That's all gone wrong. Go back. Guess the question. Yeah. Come on. Revision ideas. I wanted to just stop here, guys. Some ideas for what to do with this topic. I will give you all of the stuff that you need. All of the things I've shown you today, I will send to you on Satchel 1 after this. Start with the components. Make sure you know what they are. The control unit and the other components that you need to do. The arithmetic logic unit and so on. Think about what they do. Learn the role of each register. That one's a bit tedious, but you need to learn it. Cache, registers, virtual memory. I haven't covered virtual memory, but we'll do that another day. Use this knowledge organiser I've got for you and use the list of key terms. On my YouTube channel, don't forget to like and subscribe, you can watch my videos of how the CPU works. And that retrospective revision planner, the spreadsheet, what I sent you, take the list of topics and drop it in there. I think I've done it for you, actually. Those topics are on the Hazelwick CP website, and boom, that's it, guys. Thank you for coming. There have been loads of you in, and I hope it's been useful. So I'm going to do another live stream on Tuesday. And I'm going to do Tuesday, and then Tuesday, Thursday on the week of your exam. And I'll do a combination. I thought it was quite hilarious, to be honest with you. So that's it. And I will have a lovely evening. I have gone 3 minutes over, so I apologise for ruining your lives. And I will see you tomorrow. Be good. Have a lovely evening, guys. Bye-bye. Take care. See you later.